Welcome to the David Dean Show, a weekly look at West Georgia Wolves football, brought to you by Systems and Methods. SMI, a proud supporter of West Georgia Wolves football. And hello again, everybody, with Coach David Dean. Mitch Gray back for our final David Dean Show of the 2018 football season. And the reason for that, a tough loss to the Wingate Bulldogs, 41-31 this past Saturday on Rayland Field. Coach, we jumped out early, but boy, we were sure generous early in the ball game, and that came back to bite us, didn't it?
Well, it really did. You know, fourth play of the game, we break a long touchdown run, and then right after that, we make four mistakes that we have not made really all year long. We've been very good at protecting the football, and we had two interceptions and a fumble and then a block punt. All led to 20 points that gave them a 20-7 lead, and it was just very difficult for us to overcome. Felt really good when we scored right before the half and made it 20-17, and then took the lead in the third quarter, 24-20. But to a great credit to Wingate, they played an outstanding fourth quarter, and that ended up being the difference in the game. Those mistakes early, and then winning the fourth quarter battle.
You know, the fourth quarter part, after we'd fought back, I thought a lot of class and a lot of it showed who we are inside and outside, the way we battled back to take that lead in the second half.
Well, I thought it was. You know, unfortunately, I think we still had the hangover from the Valdosta State game. That disappointment of losing that game showed all week long, and I tried everything I could to knock that out of us. It really hurt us not being able to go outside. We had to practice Tuesday and Wednesday indoors, and if we could have got outside and just been together as an entire football team, I think that would have helped. We finally were able to do that. We went over to Central Carrollton and practiced on their turf because our field was underwater. On Thursday, we finally got out there, but I would love to have been able to do that earlier in the week. No excuse. We had to get past that, and I don't think we ever did.
Is there talk about that situation a little bit? Is there a way you can tell ahead of time that you're going to be running into something like that? Because each team's different, and kids are kids.
Well, they are. Well, I could kind of sense it on Sunday. You know, they were still disappointed, and we had they had the show where they were revealing the Division II playoffs, and when they posted us up there, nobody really got very excited about it. And we knew we were going to be in the playoffs, so we just didn't know where we were going to be. We felt like we were going to be number 2 after the loss to Valdosta State. But, again, there was really no excitement from that. And then Monday, you know, we had some guys that came in and watched film, not a ton of them, you know, like we usually do. And then, like I said, Tuesday and Wednesday we were separate. Our defense practice first. We did come together for 20 minutes or so for our special teams, and then our offense practice. So we never really got together to really get that family atmosphere, that group together where we could get out and knock that hangover out altogether. We just never were able to do that.
Coach, you hear people, media-wise, otherwise, folks like me who don't really know the difference between third down and third base sometimes talk about, well, you got that first score too easy. Do coaches think that way? Is it really a thing with coaches and players that maybe the first one came, but it was something we earned? We executed the heck out of it, and an All-American made a 60-yard run.
Well, he did. You know, and believe it or not, Mitch, you're very smart when you say that, because it's the first thing that came in my mind was a flashback to the West Florida game at the end of the regular season last year. We scored on the first play of the game, and our guys kind of thought, okay, this is going to be pretty easy. And then we take the next drive down and kick a field goal. And, you know, all of a sudden we're up 16-0, and our guys are going, all right, now who's going to be our first round opponent? And I think that's kind of what we did in that game. We scored very early. We made a great stop on defense, got the ball back, and the second play after that we fumbled. And if we don't do that, we don't fumble and we drive down and score again, who knows what's going to happen. But I think that early score to us, it was kind of like, hey, we are ready to play. But we really weren't.
Well, Coach, I know the last 2 weeks have been disappointments, but as I say all the time, I'm disappointed for our kids, not in our kids. This was a good year, and this was a good football team with some great young men on it.
It really was. You know, people have no idea what these kids overcame all year long, and I'm really proud of them for putting a lot of things behind them and pressing on week after week after week. We did suffer some injuries down the stretch that We had some guys that were playing, but they weren't playing 100%. But I tell you, they battled their fannies off. They played like they were 100%. They tried and they gave everything they could for this football team and for their brothers. And for that, I'm very proud. It is disappointing to lose your last two games, but if you go back and you look, if we lose the second or third game of the year and then lose in the playoffs, it doesn't hurt quite as bad. What hurts is losing that peach basket, losing the conference championship, losing that first round bye, which we needed, and then turning around and losing in the first round playoffs. Those are all things that culminated up in a matter of about 8 days that our guys had to face.
A whole bunch of seniors, Coach. They meant a lot to this program, and I know they'll always be special to you.
Well, no question. I had an opportunity to spend 2 years with a lot of them, and they had 3 playoff appearances. They were able to go to the playoffs for 3 years, 3 of their 4 years that they played. A lot of great football players, a lot of them, sold out for this program, and they will be missed. And I hurt for them because they know that we didn't give our best effort on Saturday. They know we're a better football team than what we showed on Saturday. And for it to just come to a complete end that fast was kind of shocking to them. And it hurts for everybody, but I hurt for those seniors because they did play their last football game.
Well, Coach, for the guys you have coming back, important to close this semester well, get your academic work done, do your best there, and come back ready to get in that weight room in January.
Well, that's true. When we get back from Thanksgiving break, we'll have a team meeting and we'll discuss academics like you talked about and kind of what our plan is of what we're going to do in the off season, what we need to do to get better, what we need to improve on, things that we didn't do down the stretch that we need to do better. All of those things are what we're going to address. And then obviously our coaching staff, we're going to get out on the road. We're going to beat the bushes here in the state of Georgia and Alabama now that it's in state for us. We're going to recruit very hard. We're going to replace a lot of good football players that are leaving this program and hopefully plug those guys in there and hopefully have another good season and next season be a little bit better than we were this year.
Well, Coach, this state has some football players. You got the D1s in this state succeed. You got them coming in at that level. Everybody we play has Georgia kids on there. If you're looking for talent, Georgia's not a bad place to start.
Well, it's a great place to start. They're well coached, number one, but every one of the kids that comes from the state of Georgia, they understand what it means to sacrifice for your football team and for your brothers on that team. And that's why we like to recruit the state of Georgia so hard. They understand football. They love football, and they're coached very well. Talent is very, very strong in the state of Georgia. And, we had, I think, 8 freshmen that played for us this year, all from the state of Georgia, all from the high schools in the state of Georgia. And that says a lot to be able to come into the Gulf South Conference and play as a true freshman. And several of them were difference makers in the game. You're talking about Christian Royalston and Blaine Gibson, who had an outstanding season at corner. Jalen Harrell from Valdosta, had another great year. Spencer Myers up front, an offensive lineman. All of those guys played outstanding football for us as true freshmen, and that's what we're going to have to keep bringing into this program.
And Division II recruiting, fans may know kind of the timetable for the big guys, the SEC, ACC, whatever. It's more of a 12-month deal at our level, I think, than it is for the big guys.
Well, it is. If you had told me in July when we were putting our team together that we would make a 10-game run and be 10-0, I would have said I'm not real sure that I would believe that. But what this coaching staff did to bring in guys late from guys that we lost from an academic standpoint, just to create the depth that we needed, what an outstanding job they did. And again, you got to think about this. A lot of this staff was not put together until late February and early March. And what they did with these players and what these players did with these coaches is a phenomenal job. I don't think there's any other team in the country that would have been able to do that and mesh that together in a matter of about 4 months and then put together a stretch like we had throughout the season. So hopefully we're not going to have to do that. We're going to be together, and hopefully we're not going to lose any coaches and not lose any players and continue to build on this chemistry that we have kind of created in this 2018 season.
And of course, the chemistry is also part of the culture that is important to you and the success you've had, and that's something you've wanted to bring here since the day you came to West Georgia.
Well, we do. We want to bring guys in here that are going to stay in this program for 4 years. You are going to have to go in and get some guys that are 1 or 2 year guys. That's always going to be at this case at the Division II level. But you still want to bring in those guys that are going to be here for 4 years. And the Quentin Stanfords who played for 4 years, Devontae Jackson who played for 4 years. And you think about it, those guys are all conference players for us. Willie Candler's been here for 3 years. He's an all conference player. Those are the type guys that we need to continue to build this program around.
Well, Coach, best of success to you. And speaking for all Wolves fans, because I'm the biggest and the oldest of them all, thank you for what you, this staff, and these guys have done, what you've accomplished and what you mean to this university, its fan base, and the whole community.
Well, thank you, Mitch. And I'm really proud of our players. They're the ones that went out and did it. They did it despite coaching, I think. But I'm really proud of them. It was a lot of fun. I wish it could have gone on much longer, but 10-2 is nothing to sneeze at. Again, I said this in the press conference afterwards. If you're 10-2 at Division I, you're going to a very, very huge bowl game. You're 10-2 in Division II. It's like, well, crud, what's going to happen now? And that's the sad part about Division II football.
Well, let's go to work and see if we can add to that 10 next year.
Well, we sure are. Thank you very much.
Thank you, head football coach David Dean. Thank you, fans, for being with us all throughout the year. And, of course, you stay with us at uwgsports.com. Any news or anything big, postseason accolades for these guys. When recruiting time comes, we'll keep you updated. The newest guys to put their names on letters to be a part of this football program and this university. Thank you for your support, and thanks for being with us all season long. For head coach David Dean, a big thank you to SMI for bringing this to you. It is, of course, the Coach David Dean Show, and have a great holiday, everybody.